Optimist International and the kids we serve benefit greatly from the contributions of our two foundations. Those foundations help support many of our programs and make it possible for us to serve more young people. At this time, we're going to hear from both foundations. First, let me introduce the president of the Canadian Children's Optimist Foundation, Duane Kelly.
Good morning, Ron, and fellow delegates. I bring greetings and a big thank you from the Canadian Children's Optimist Foundation. Your continued support of the foundations is a tribute to your belief in helping us to help optimists help kids. Votre soutien continue à la Fondation prouve que vous aidez les optimistes à aider les enfants. While Canadians have helped us directly, the rest of you have supported the Optimist International Foundation as it grew and then spawned our separate existence. This morning, I will offer you a few words about our circumstances, make some presentations, and of course, ask for your contributions. First, where are we? And a reminder of how we got here. For some of you, this will be a review, but for many, there will be surprises included. From an adjunct to Optimist International Foundation, over the past 26 years, we have grown to be a totally autonomous organization, serving the 22% of optimists who live in Canada. For the past several years, we've had an all-Canadian board with all Canadian staff and all paperwork held and managed in Montreal. We continue to build our image as a Canadian organization. We believe that this encourages greater generosity from Canadians and increases our ability to help optimists help kids, while doing our share to support all of the programs of Optimist International. We're in good shape financially. Our returns on investments have exceeded targets in recent years. Our donors have been generous, and our staff has managed very well. Also, we had the good fortune to receive a very large contribution from Donald MacDonald to form the base of a fund that is growing towards $3 million. When it gets there, it will be able to supply sufficient income to pay for all Canadian scholarships. Besides raising money to support the scholarships for oratorical, essay, communications contests for the deaf and hard of hearing, we provide some of the funding for Junior Optimist Octagon International and for Optimist International programs, often as they are getting started. Recently, these latter have included the Internet Safety Program and the Real Optimism Video Program. There are two more areas where we act primarily as bankers. We call the money in these areas restricted funds because they cannot be used for everyday foundation programs. One is the outsourcing program, similar to the pass-through program in the United States, which provides a vehicle for clubs to raise significant funds to be directed to community projects, often including those directed against childhood cancer. Clubs establish a plan for an appropriate project, send us the money, and direct the spending of those funds as the project progresses. Now, please join me in watching a 1-minute video of a wonderful club response to a disaster. Holding there. Optimist members answered the call to action in helping a town decimated by the tragic railway accident of summer 2013. The Canadian Children's Optimist Foundation raised more than $11,000, which was given to the Lac-Mégantic Optimist Club to fund their existing projects, mostly aimed at helping young people participate in sports. Les clubs de la région Saint-Laurent se sont unis pour appuyer le club optimiste de Lac-Mégantic. Je salue votre élan de générosité. It was a fine example of using the outsourcing program. The other area where we are essentially bankers is the childhood cancer campaign. Contributions come in restricted for use by CCC. We manage these funds and write checks as directed by Optimist International. The hope here is that the fund will grow to $1 million and become self-sustaining. So much for where we're at, but where are we going? First, we're going to continue to be very fiscally prudent. This partly results from the need to conform to Canadian law, but it's also built into the DNA of our board members. Managing the Canadian Children's Optimist Foundation in conformity with the Canada Revenue Agency, the staff engage in servicing Optimist members by supplying them with reports and much information and an incredible recognition program. Giving training to the district foundation representatives, producing an updated website, managing the outsourcing program, and ensuring all administrative aspects of such an organization. When our fund to provide scholarships reaches its goal, or we have sufficient donors step forward to fund individual scholarships, we'll be able to provide new services to Optimist International programs in Canada and to have sufficient staff to accelerate our progress. In parallel, we're looking for ways to increase the very small percentage of Optimists who are donors. As volunteer-minded folks who are working to help their communities, we wonder why we won't get more contributions. Why would you not treat your foundation as a favorite charity? Why would you not have club fundraisers? We want to help you to answer those questions. We would particularly like to increase our planned giving portfolio, more inclusion in estates. Partly to this end, we invested heavily in becoming certified by Imagine Canada, somewhat akin to a Better Business Bureau for Canadian charities. Board member Lyle Merriam and Acting Executive Director Jacques Pellon have done a great deal of work, and we await an approval. Now, I will call forward individuals who have reached milestones in our Lifetime Giving program. They will receive a fancy new CCOF medallion with an attached benefactor pin reflecting the levels that they have reached. I would like to call Jordan Dorsainville to the stage. Thank you. She will help me with this process. First, we have Vince Parker. Vince? Vince is the 2014-15 District Foundation Representative for Alphabet Soup, Alberta, Montana, Saskatchewan, and Northern Wyoming. He's now a distinguished benefactor, reflecting lifetime giving of $5,000. Thank you. Reaching the eminent benefactor level, which is the gold level with a $10,000 lifetime, are CCOF board member Nina Strickland and husband Fred. Next, we have a former board member, ex-membre du conseil d'administration de la Fondation, Danielle Fortin, and Central Ontario Governor Ted Simmons. Now we have two folks who have got to the level of what we call a bronze benefactor pin. That's for $15,000 lifetime. Yves Bertium is unable to be here today, but Brian Clements is. Yves is not able to be here, but to remind you of who he is the 2014-15 president-elect of the Canadian Children's Optimist Foundation, as well as being a past DFR and a past president of Optimist International. Brian, in turn, is a past president of CCOF. They both reached the bronze level, and they both earned their new pin. I'm not quite following the script here. Okay. We're particularly honored to present another bronze benefactor pin. This goes to a gentleman who has assisted with fundraising in several districts across Canada. We go a big thanks to your international president, Ron Huxley, who has reached the $15,000 lifetime giving level. The reference to helping us is he has provided items from his jewelry business that have gone over very well at many district conferences. Thank you. Unable to stay for the presentation is our president-elect, Lyle Merriam. He also has reached the bronze benefactor level. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your contributions to the Canadian Children's Optimist Foundation. Now, we invite you all to stop by our kiosk, check out our displays, and see if you've won any of our BlackBerry prizes. And, of course, this is the part where I ask for money. If you have a check for in an amount of at least $1,000, please come on stage as I finish my remarks with a big thank you. So come on stage. First of all, while they're coming up, I thank you, the OIF board in particular, for being supportive to us over the years, to staff for guiding us through the maze of rules, regulations, and processes, to my board members for their patience, and especially to Optimists and our donors. Please support your foundations. This check is from the Regina Downtowners Club, which brings them to a lifetime $50,000 level. That check was from the Aylmer Optimist Club, and I don't know if he realizes this, but that brings you to the next benefactor level as well. Thank you. I think we're about to scroll the list of clubs who have reached new milestones. With some luck, please. The $1,000 benefactor level, the Club Optimist at Moncton, New Brunswick. The $2,500 honored benefactor level, the Club Optimist at Carlsbad Springs, Ontario. The Optimist Club of Arthur, Ontario. The Optimist Club of Dorchester South, Ontario. The $5,000 level, we have the Optimist Club of Lucan, Ontario. The Optimist Club of Strabane, Ontario, $10,000 eminent benefactor level. The Optimist Club of High River, which happens to be a club that I'm a member of, that has 7 members, and we're at $10,000. Yeah. The Optimist Club of Aylmer, Ontario, the Optimist who just got to this level, we appreciate that. The Optimist Club of Newmarket, Ontario, the Optimist Club of Richmond Hill, at the $15,000 level. We have the Optimist Club of Ausable Fort Franks, and I probably pronounced that wrong, but it's close. Ausable Fort Franks, Optimist Club of Milton, and at the $50,000 level, just this past week, we have the Regina Downtowners Optimist Club. That was the first club I joined in 1974. As part of our appreciation of the Optimist International Foundation, I'd like to do something more concrete. I'd ask Karen Monville to join me on stage. That's a check for $10,000 towards repayment of our debt from the Canadian Children's Optimist Foundation to the Optimist International Foundation. Thank you very much. Merci beaucoup.